Good morning, everybody. Before we get started, I'm just gonna drink this. McDonald's, or if anyone connected is watching this, this would be great to sponsor Sounds Like Autism. Ba 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 ba. I'm loving it. You're loving it. Please sponsor us.
I am loving it, Josh. I don't know about that. I'm hopeful, always hopeful with these corporate sponsors. I'm drinking a Dunkin' Donuts cold brew. The grocery store stuff that you bring home and you put in the fridge. It's delicious. Again,
Sponsor us, Dunkin'.
Not a sponsor yet, but
Yeah.
what's up?
You see, like, we are willing to be like Wayne's World, like what Dave showed. Like, we have no shame in this area. We will be like, we would never sell out, but if we did, we'd be drinking Gatorade or something.
Everything's got a price, Josh. Come on.
Yeah.
But cheers and good morning. It's 7 a.m. where I am, 8 a.m. where Josh is.
Wait, 7 a.m. where you are? I thought it was 9 a.m. where he was.
No, it's earlier here, but I love that because I'm an early bird. So
yeah,
moving to Tennessee was cool because my work schedule kind of more lines up with everybody else's. So I work from if I work from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. here, that's 8 to 6 where you are, which is more what my coworkers do. But so that's pretty cool. But good morning, bro. How's everything?
Good. What about you? How's life in Tennessee land?
Everything is cool. Working hard, concentrating on health and wellness and family. I'm excited that it's the fall. How do you feel in the fall? You like the fall?
Well, it's my favorite season because I'm sensitive to like extreme temperatures. So fall's kind of like, it's great. I love the temperature. I love seeing all the leaves fall, and also I love seeing the pumpkins and stuff around. So yeah, I'm a big kid with that stuff.
Yeah, man, for sure. I like it too. I like all the pumpkin flavored stuff, and I like apple picking with the family, and I like Halloween. There's also something else that happens in September. You're a sentimental guy. What just passed?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Like about a week ago or so, it was the 2-year anniversary of our Tedx team. Sounds Like Autism's Tedx.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. Time's very flying. That's weird that it's been 2 years. I remember it like yesterday. It's kind of weird, to be honest.
It makes me really sentimental to look at those pictures, look at those throwbacks that come up on that day. I mean, it was an incredible opportunity, and it's still being shown in college classrooms and high schools. And we knew that would be, something that would be, we kept on saying, yeah, we're recording it live in front of hundreds of people, but it's going to be around, echoing through
like for thousands, 5,000, 10,000 plus people will be eventually, because of the scope. I will never forget. I think it was during lockdown or something, and I was messaging this guy. I had no idea where he is from. I thought he was in some part of America, and we're talking, and he said, "Oh yeah, I saw your TEDx," and we're talking about, and like eventually, I'm like, "All right, man, I'm gonna go to bed because it's late where I am." And I'm like, "All right, so you too?" And he said, "Nah, man, it's like sunny here." I'm like, "Where are you?" And he said, "Sydney, Australia." And I was like, wow. I mean, so to know that like something you did goes all the way there. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's insane in a good way. And it definitely in a good way. But but yeah, it's crazy. So if anyone listening ever gets the chance, and if anyone neurodiverse, I just want to specify with this, ever gets the chance to do a TEDx, I'd just like to say a couple things. First of all, do it. Definitely do it. But only do it if you're willing to put in an insane amount of work. Sacrifice, give up time with your friends, give all that just to sit down, study, work. But if you have the discipline to do that, definitely do it. It's gonna be extremely hard to prepare, but it's totally worth it. So
I just want to say, make sure that you have the proper amount of support. Or your circle of support needs to be strong.
Yeah, that's it.
For whether you're a neurodivergent person or not. We had an incredible producer who we talk about on this show too much, George. Shout out to George. But we gave TEDx Farmingdale, if you want to check it out. it's called Be Selfish, Embrace Neurodiversity, and it's very special to us. And if you need advice as neurodivergent people, Josh and I are both in that boat.
So we are happy to help.
We can speak to that. So that being said, what's new? What's going on? So I know me and you are collaborating on something that I'm really excited about starting tomorrow. Do you want to share what's going on?
Well, I'm going to become a certified screen printer from what's it called? The American
Screen Printing Association. It's a big deal. Yeah. We have a grant program through the New York State Department of Labor, where we're getting certifications in different fields at Spectrum Designs Foundation and the Nicholas Center. So I'm leading that charge, and I'm actually teaching the screen printing portion of the certification for the screen printing students.
Dave, the way you said it, I felt like you're like General Patton when it's like I'm leading the charge, like General Patton with the screen printing.
That's right.
Look at you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, it's cool to be involved in that kind of thing that's so specific to Spectrum Designs and you know, the shop floor, because I've been so far removed from that, now geographically far removed from it, but also just I've been up to other things. So it's always cool to talk about the actual field of screen printing with 8 new candidates to become certified screen printers. I'm really excited about that. So congratulations in advance. It's going to be some hard work, but we'll keep everyone up to date. Yeah, it's fun. Don't be nervous. It's going to be good.
I'm not nervous. I like things that require self-discipline, like in the mental sense, because it challenges me, and all the time I always end up growing from it. So I really enjoy challenge in that sense, like genuinely. And so with that, I just want to say, like, all the states we've been to, it's
been a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, virtually. I want to emphasize virtually. We're not getting on like a plane. I'd love to, but we're not getting on a plane or a train or whatever and going across America. That will cost a lot of time and an insane amount of money.
We'll have to get those Mickey D's and Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I mean, look, but we're totally like sell out to McDonald's or something if they want to provide that. Like the Ronald McDonald plane. I mean, sure, we'll take it. We'll do whatever you tell us to do. But, and I'm not even joking with that part, I'm being serious. But with that being said, yeah, so we're doing it virtually. So again, I want to emphasize a virtual tour, because some people have asked, is it real? No, virtual. But it's, I mean, I can't even like we've done so many states, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, let me bring up the heat map here. So here you go. Check this out.
Wow. Well, yeah, see, like, that's incredible. That's really incredible. Yeah. I mean,
and this actually, and there's already an X there for today's state, which is Missouri. We're focusing on St. Louis, Missouri today. So I guess technically we've checked that box off, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, because you see, like, all throughout, I mean, the states, at least from my personal take of this little like journey we're doing, different states are approach things certain ways. Obviously, you have different state governments, you have different stuff like that. But the mission, if we down to it's like all the same. It's beneficial employment, giving people a sense of purpose and dignity, and that's extremely important. And again, I grew up late '90s, early 2000s. It was a totally different time back then. That if you were to go back there and tell them, "Oh, we're gonna have this starting up in the country," no one would either A, believe you, or B, most likely no one would care. That's the thing, because back then, people didn't. It was not nearly as accepted. So it's someone on the spectrum who grew up in that time period to see this. It's amazing, because it's society's totally shifted in a way which back then was unfathomable. Mm-hmm. I remember one time I was in I'll never forget this, 4th grade, and the whole grade, not class, whole grade, stand up on this these bleachers for this music choir concert photo, and they cut me out. I was the only student which they cut out in the whole grade.
What?
I never forget that. Yeah, I know, right? And nowadays, if that would never happen. That school would be on ABC, CNN, MSNBC.
Well, things like that do happen every once in a while, and yes, they do. They are held very, very accountable for that.
Yeah, and for those who do, I mean, if that happens to you, all you do is seriously just go to your local newspaper or something, and they'll run them. So, but now back in the day, it wasn't like that. And that was, I mean, 2002 or 2003. So it was a totally different world. But we've come so far, and we are going in such an amazing direction. It's just wonderful.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. That being said, let's hit Missouri, man. I'm really excited to have Todd Streff on, the executive director of the Skills Center. The Skills Center is a really cool organization to me because they're doing similar work to the Nicholas Center in that they're helping prepare people with autism and other differences for the workplace. But there are some really unique differences, and that's the point of this tour, to learn and to grow and to connect people and learn best practices and things like that. So we're thrilled to have Todd on. Josh, take it away.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Todd, for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about the Skills Center, about yourself?
Sure. I appreciate the opportunity, guys. I'm Todd Streff. I'm the executive director of the Skills Center here in St. Louis. Came here in 2018 to launch the initiative we have here. I think it's an interesting one in that I say we do it backwards here. We go out and find partners who have ongoing talent need, and then we source directly to them. So we know what their needs are, and then we train exactly to those needs. So our folks are ahead of the curve, we say, when they're ready to start in those positions.
That is awesome. Yeah, it is so good to connect with you, Todd. Again, I know we were emailing and I said, we have a lot in common and there's plenty to talk about here. So it's great to connect. Thanks for being on.
So why do you personally feel that programs such as the Skills Center are crucial to the neurodivergent population?
I find that programs like ours and like what you guys do are, extremely critical for our individuals, in that we give them the opportunity. We give them a lot of, trial or chances and kind of figuring it out in a safe environment where we can really, make sure they have the confidence. We can work on those soft skills. But I find also, and our partners are starting to see the incredible talent that our individuals have and what they bring to it. Nothing like telling an employer that our folks will be there probably twice as long as any other employee they have, and they're going to work and they're going to get the job done.
That's so very true. From someone especially who has received services or I've gotten help like that, it's absolutely critical and crucial. So you're doing great, good work.
And it's amazing to see, it's one thing to talk about it, but I think the people that are less connected to this and maybe don't have skin in the game don't understand the kind of impact that programs like yours have every day. So thank you.
It's huge.
That being said, can you tell us about one victory or triumph in particular that you have witnessed at the Skills Center personally?
Some of every day is a victory here. I mean, it's just one of those places where you get to come to and you're just so excited about the work you get to do. But just had a recent experience with somebody who 2 years ago I presented at a conference, and this individual was attending for their first ever disability conference and heard me present. Next thing I know, 1 month later, they're in our program. And then move forward 2 years, he and I actually just spoke at that same conference. He gave his own conference presentation for an hour, and I gave, one on another topic. So it was just kind of neat to see the evolution from his first conference. He's 2 years at the job we placed him in, and now he's actually presenting at conferences. So that was just huge to see the growth in him in that matter of 2 years.
That reminds me of you, Josh.
Well, thanks. And yeah, no, that's truly amazing and remarkable. It really is the growth. But I must ask you now, with that being said, are you worried about your job? This individual gunning for your job now?
Yeah, he kind of jokes about being after my job. He actually, where he's employed, he's actually told the vice president that he better watch out because he wants his job at that manufacturing plant. Maybe because he drives a little nicer car than I do, not sure. But he's actually referred to as the wire, or Randy is referred to as the mayor of wire shelves over there. So he's got even a nice little following of folks over at that place, and it's a big place. I mean, it's 4 million square feet where he works. So he is pretty well known. It's a pretty interesting story for him.
I have honestly never even heard of a building that big in my life. 4 million square feet. That's
indoor square feet. So it would be equivalent to 73 football fields.
Wow, that's amazing. Like that's the size. That's huge.
yeah, for sure.
That being said, okay, tell us a little bit about all the research and thought and everything else that's gone into this program.
Yeah, I mean, the research as far as going back, trying to find other companies that were having successes, figuring out what the critical features were. And, for me, I spent 20 years in the autism community, but at the pre-K to high school, working on the educational side of things. So I saw a lot of students then that I felt just weren't really being prepared for work. They were being prepared for other environments. So we spent a lot of research there on figuring out what are those skills we're going to need to teach them as they come out of schools. Plus, also, what are the skills that employers need? Um, we have a great resource in our community finding that, and probably yours as well, that soft skills is a huge issue. So that makes up a third of our curriculum here at the Skills Center. And then we go the other 2/3 is really those hard skills. So there was a ton of research. I'm a behavior analyst by training, so I'm pretty used to breaking down curriculum and figuring out what are those viable things that we need to do, and then putting it together in a pretty succinct training package.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm familiar with some of those kind of logistics of researching and planning and developing a program. It was something so unique 10 years ago when my company started, and now more and more people are taking their skill sets from special ed and other fields and kind of saying, well, what's, when the school bus stops coming, what's missing in the workplace, and kind of augmenting the world of work to make it work for people who think in all different ways, which is something that I need as well. So it's really cool to hear that our stories are similar in that way. Awesome. Yeah, great. It's so cool to connect with you. Thank you.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about like the inner workings, the nuts and bolts, so to say, about this whole thing?
Yeah, how does it actually work?
Yeah, in case, like, let's say someone wants to start their own.
Yeah, the interesting thing about our program, we have both a training, program that I have, and then we have kind of the traditional, placement through Voc Rehab. But the Skills Center in itself, the training program, is a unique opportunity in that, we find those community partners that have an ongoing talent need. We go in their space, we kind of figure out what's the curriculum. We design it from there to meet their needs. And then usually it's an 8-week training program that comes out of that. So our folks come Monday through Friday, 3 hours a day, 1 hour soft skills, 2 hours working on the hard skills. And then at the end of that 120 hours, the expectation is if they've passed the agreed upon coursework between the community partner and ourselves, then they are hired. So literally they could graduate on a Friday and then start work at a Monday at that partner. So, and we've had ongoing dialogue back and forth. The supervisors from that facility have been in our place, us and theirs. So we work on where's the best placement for them and the best supervisor to kind of meet those needs. So, so at the end of 8 weeks, they are being employed full-time in most situations by that community partner. They're getting the same benefits, same wages, same opportunities. We don't expect that there's a carve out for our people. They're there to do the job that's expected of them or anybody else that applies for that position. So that's where it changes a little bit from some of the others. And then we do have the capability for up to 6 hours every month to provide that supported employment follow along. So that retention to make sure, hey, are they doing good? Are they getting promoted? Are there any concerns? Do we need to work with HR, any supervisors? Just to make sure that people are being successful on both sides. It's not just a one-way street.
And it shouldn't be a one-way street. It never should with anyone at work. Employers should be working for employees just as much as employees should be working for employers, right? So it's so important to be able to have those conversations and collaborate with community partners on these partnerships. And it sounds like you're finding some really awesome partners and huge ones, which is really cool and exciting for us being at a small company. So that's neat.
That's amazing. But I would like to know on behalf of like our listeners and stuff, can you please explain a little bit more about how you prepare for the interview process and the training process? Because those are two things which can be extremely difficult and hard to like kind of master.
So for us, when people come and they're interested in our program. Let's say they want to go to one of our manufacturing partners. The way we found best to do it is we send them through all the pre-hiring up front. So they go get their drug screen, their background check, they go through HR, they take a tour of the plant just to make sure, is this somewhere I want to be? And we also want to make sure, do you have the capabilities? Are you going to pass everything? Because the last thing we want is for them to go through an 8-week training and feel confident they're going to get their job, only to find out that there might be something, a medication or some physical issue or something going on. So we make sure that they are fully vetted through the hiring partner even before we start. And so they are, if they start the class with us on day one, they are job ready, for that facility as long as they pass and they complete those 8 weeks. And then they finish up any of the hiring process at the end. Just, all right, here's your date that you're going to start. Here's your rate of pay. Here's all your insurance. Here's your time off. So they give them all that information on graduation day, and then we finalize it. So we try and make sure that people are successful from the start, and that, there isn't disappointment or frustration at the end. And we found that that's a very successful way that everybody kind of has a stake in the game at that point.
That's awesome. That's different from what I've experienced in the past. And I'm taking a lesson from your playbook here. Very neat. As someone who's speaking with big community partners right now about the possibility of some employment opportunities, it's a big deal, what you're doing. I think that you feel that impact. I'm sure you do by being such a big part of it. But what about the impact on the employer? So we've talked a little bit about success stories about the employee and how exciting your program is, but one huge piece of this is that historically employers may not have been giving these opportunities to people. And I think that there's a lot of, stigma and a lot of, lack of understanding of the capabilities of people that think differently, but once you do successfully partner with an employer, what has the impact been on their business, on their opinions about this partnership? Can you speak to that a little bit?
The impact for our partners has been kind of neat to see. I think some of them, they were all in when they went, but once they start to see the impact that our people have just on the social aspect or just the retention rate, people are coming, they're showing up for work, and kind of motivate a lot of the others. So I think that's been the neat part. We've got some that they can't get enough of our folks. I mean, they're like, when's the next class? And we have one that we pretty much set up on an ongoing 2 to 3 month cycle. So we'll source them about 20 to 30 people in a year during that time frame, and they are here for all of the graduations. We may have only 5 graduates because we don't host any more than 5 in a class. They'll bring 25 to 30 employees from their agency. They'll just shut it down, come on over, and they're part of the graduation process. They are a fully committed partner, and so it's neat to see. They're like, when we first started, they were like, we're not sure what to expect, but now we see it's just a knockdown effect. Everybody is wanting to, chime in their morning meetings or be engaged. They're like, all right, if those folks can do it, what's your reason for not stepping up? And so it really has changed their culture for a positive. And that's been great to see. But, and we see that with our big providers, but we also see it with the small ones as well. They really, kind of raise the standards in every place that we've been in.
Yeah, that's truly amazing. That's great. You're expanding the mindset of folks, like neurodivergent and non-neurodivergent. That's really something. I feel that's kind of like an unintended positive consequence. And I use the word consequence because most people take consequence as a negative. It's not always negative, and that's an unintended positive consequence. So with that being said, if you could tell folks like employers, HR departments, what's not about working folks like me, neurodivergent on the spectrum, what would that be from your experience, what you have so far?
One of the things that's been cool, Dave, too, about some of the partners is, kind of when we have those discussions with them, all of a sudden they realize they have an internal need as well. They have employees who have kids or, nieces and nephews or relation or neighbors. So they're starting to recruit for us. They're like, hey, we've got this, neighbor. We didn't think it'd be possible. We love our company. So can they go through the program? So it's neat to see how people within those companies after 2 years or 3 years of partnership are now rolling forward, and they're pushing our flyers out, letting people know when our next class is. And so we're getting, so it's neat to see family is bringing their own family because just how much they value the company they work for. Every time we reach out to a prospective partner, we're really just trying to, get them to ask those tough questions. So I say, when you say disability, that's like saying the color blue. We all have a different shade in mind. We all have a different idea what disabled means. And, so pretty much we knock that barrier down and say, we're sourcing you talent that can do the job. So are you wanting talent to kind of fill your vacancies? So let's kind of get to that punch right up front, and then we tell them our folks' retention rate is twice of what yours is. We're at 90+% retention rate at the 1 year mark. At some of these places that are struggling at 40%, maybe 50% at the 3 month spot. So we just kind of don't ask them a lot of questions. We just kind of put the statistics in front of them and hope those kind of speak for, what we're doing and the outcomes that our folks are having at places like theirs.
Wow, I agree, man. However, what about in this scenario? Like, so let's say I'm just getting out of high school or college. I'm on the spectrum, which I really am. And I'm feeling discouraged. I can't find a job, or this isn't gonna be for me. This isn't. What would you tell them? Someone in your shoes. What would you tell that young individual?
Sometimes after that 21-year, leaves, or 18 or whatever it is, and they're kind of frustrated, or I hate to say, sometimes that special ed life is built upon failures. Until you fail a number of times and you don't, get additional steps. We bring a lot of those folks in. We're like, just come take a tour, look at our training program. We just recently had a 22-year-old come to our program, and we're like, come on in, check it out. And at the end, we're like, what'd you think about it? He goes, I wanted to come in and I wanted to hate it. But he goes, I don't. He goes, I see it's a small environment. Everybody, can ask questions. Nobody is meant to feel inferior. And he goes, the money isn't that big a thing, but I really like that it challenged me and you guys were okay with that. It's okay to fail and it's okay to succeed, and you kind of build that up. So we just invite those people in and just, kind of figure out, what do you want? What are your opportunities? And we'll hit those areas where you're uncomfortable with. Let's have that discussion. And there are not many that walk away and go, never mind, I don't want to be here. So
I fully understand where that guy was coming from, because what you said, this individual uh, stated that he wanted to not like it, and I think that's due to, like we said earlier, and like in the special education section of the school system going up, and then like all that, you are pretty much exposed to either messing up and then being expected to fail, which again, this is not good, but this is the truth. I'm just saying the truth. And that's how it is, at least when I was growing up. So, so that kind of brings about that mindset, at least it did with me. Having this, what you said, having this individual come across, say, oh, well, actually, I did like it and I was surprised. That's great. That's a huge turnaround. That's the beginning of a huge turnaround into being successful in the workplace. So if you listen to this podcast, you know that I previously worked in the food industry, restaurants. And in that industry, it wasn't a quote unquote safe place to fail or anything. You would get, cursed at, you get yelled at, just lots of horrible stuff. But when you are, at least with me, when I find when you're in an area where you know that, okay, if I fail, I'm not gonna get fired, I can learn and then improve, it makes so much more of a difference. And then you can grow and you can actually be a better, more valuable employee and just get better and better. So I understand everything with that you were saying.
For sure. And Todd, that being said, I think this is a great place to leave off. It's so good to connect with you. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you so much for your work with the Skills Center and beyond. We can tell that you're making a huge impact on so many lives, which is what this program is all about. So we appreciate you, and please keep in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That was great. That was absolutely great. I always love having folks on who are share the mission of wanting to engage with employment of the neurodiverse population and expand upon it. That's super, super, super important, because like you always say, after the bus stops, where do we go? So this is it's a real thing. I'd imagine some people don't want to think about it because it's scary, especially like, let's say you're a parent or a younger child. It's a scary thought, but it's one that eventually you will have to face. So this is so important.
Yeah, for sure. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to make sure that I put the links and stuff to the Skills Center in the show notes and the caption for our show announcement on social. So definitely check out what they do at the Skills Center, whether you're in St. Louis or you're not, but especially if you're in St. Louis, if you're an employer, if you're someone looking for employment, definitely check them out. And that being said, check us out.
Hold on. One thing we always need to do, the shameless plug. I almost forgot. This hat over here, Sounds Like Autism official hat, Sounds Like Autism official shirt, all made at Spectrum Design Foundation by people on the spectrum. So when you buy from us this, you actually are supporting jobs for neurodiverse population. So remember, soundslikeautism.com. That's where you get the best merch ever. That's a shameless plug. Okay, let's continue.
Soundslikeautism.com, at Sounds Like Autism on Instagram, Sounds Like Autism on Facebook, wherever you get your podcasts, of course. And if you're listening, check us out on YouTube to see the action. Not that there's much going on here, but for more visual learners and visual people, it's pretty cool that we have a pretty decent video set up now. So check us out on YouTube as well. And support our merch. You're going to support employment training and supported employment opportunities for people at the Nicholas Center and Spectrum Design Foundation. And again, if you want us to feature your business or your state, let us know. And we'll see you next month. Thanks so much.
Bye.